about, you play Emma, right? Tell us a little bit about her and her role in this huge story.
So it is a huge story. It's massive. Emma Wilson is an archaeologist. She's an archaeology student. Actually, she's on a dig underneath the incredible Richard E. Grant. He's like such a massive fan. I totally nerded out like immediately when I met him. But he's sort of a legendary archaeologist, and she's on this fellowship. She's on this dig. It's basically a dream come true. And then she meets Jason Isaac's character, Peter Connolly, and they have this sort of magical adventure through the streets of Jerusalem at night, and develop this. It's a unique relationship, and then she gets in a bit over her head as she's literally digging into things. She's
What drew you to this project?
The script, the minute I read it, and I was rushed when I was reading it, and I remember everything just slowed down, and I needed time with it, and I could taste it and smell it and see it. It was just such a clear environment, and it just seemed like such an adventure. The minute that I started to let myself imagine it, and then Emma is brave, and she's a bit odd, and she's fearless, and she's funny, and she's in love with life, and she's in love with history, and it just made me feel something, and that's really what I go by. I'm new at this, obviously, so all I'm doing is going by instinct, and you read things and it just seems like words on a page, and then you read something and it feels like something you could be a part of and bring to life, and that's how I felt. And it didn't disappoint.
What was the experience of being on location? Like, how was that?
It was so amazing. It was the history, the character of the city, the locations that we shot in were just there. I mean, like 3,000-year-old tunnels, and you're in it, and you're just looking around, and they're telling really scary stories of things that happened in these tunnels thousands of years ago, and I don't know, you feel the energy, and then also just walking around Jerusalem and going through the markets and meeting people and getting their stories and getting their takes, and people of all different backgrounds, and just learning about them. It was just fascinating, the whole thing. It was like being in a completely different world than anything I've ever experienced, and every day I woke up excited and inspired, and also just kind of blown away. It's just you feel like you're close to history when you're there, and I know that sounds like the obvious thing, but you actually do feel it, because you just don't understand that deeply when you live in LA. It's a very different kind of life.
What kind of research did you do for the role?
I read a lot about archaeology, and read a lot about Israel, and just try to get my hands on anything that would help me understand it in one way or another. I even talked, my bandmate is from Chicago, and she's from Illinois, so I was asking about what pizza places you guys do, and I was just trying to find out anything about anything to understand her more. And that gave me preparation, but when I got there, that's when I felt like I was actually doing the proper research, because there's something that happens when you walk around, and especially when you walk around with your hair this color. I mean, I look like an alien, and you kind of have to stand up straighter and be braver than, I had to be braver than I was necessarily ready to be, and that in itself was research to play this character.
Yeah. Can you talk more about your character's relationship with Peter? And you said it's unique, so
it's many layered. He's grieving. He lost his daughter, and and so there's more than just a man meets a woman, on the street and they go on an adventure. There's the experience of grief. There's, when you meet somebody that feels like they could heal a part of you, they're literally at opposite ends of the spectrum. He's dead inside after this terrible loss, and she's full of life and full of love for this place and love for history, and so it's deep. It's a deep connection, and also the places that they go. There's the scene, which is really briefly in the trailer, where we're in a pool, an underground pool in a cave, and it's just one of the most magical experiences I've ever had. It's hard to describe, but I woke up the next day feeling like it was all a dream. It was just so strange, and I don't know, just...
It's kind of ethereal?
Yeah, you just don't feel quite like your feet are entirely touching the ground. And so there's that element between the two of them, just a strange inhalation in their lives together.
Has anything about this character surprised you? And maybe what's the most challenging aspect of playing this character?
Yeah, she's full of surprises. I think a really challenging aspect to it is that I don't know the answers. I don't even remotely know all the answers. So I really just had to trust SJ and kind of lean back and know that she would tell me what was needed and help guide me to that. And I think just like that I don't think I was prepared for how much I would need to trust her, and that but I love that. I love that kind of more than anything. And I just think she makes choices that aren't expected, and there are aspects of her life that are they're just not the usual way a character is written. They're so multidimensional that you can't just be like, oh, she's this kind of girl and she does this and she likes this and she listens to this kind of music and I know that person and I can put her in a box. Like, she's not like that, and I feel like that's just interesting to me.
Talk about what it was like to work with an actor like Jason Isaacs.
I mean, he's amazing. It's just, he's charming, he's funny, he's patient, he's kind, he's supportive. He's just wacky. He would bring a speaker in to the caves, and then he'd be playing like Motown soul music, and we'd all be like dancing to Marvin Gaye, and then we'd have to go run through some tunnels, and then he'd put Aretha on, and he's a joy. He was great because I told him at the beginning that I was new and I was nervous, and would he help me out, and he just did on every turn. He helped me out, and I don't necessarily, I'm no expert, but I don't know that you get someone that generous all the time. I think that's a real gift.
Did you learn anything, take anything away from your time shooting over in Israel?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to start. It's kind of like it's really interesting to be somewhere where you have people with such different beliefs and strong beliefs in such a small area. It's a very passionate place, and it's just really interesting to see that in play on a daily life.
Say hello.
And then I think that I learned a lot about just a different way of life, and it's very community oriented. I think I learned that you can be somewhere where you don't know the language, you can't even really read the street signs, and yet people can make you feel completely at home. That was maybe the biggest thing for me.
Can you tease about what kind of journey your character is going to go through over these episodes?
It is a ride.
Ooh. Anything further?
I think that's sorry, it's the whole story. It's all mystery. It's
Well,
yeah, I'm still
gotta feel
learning as I
excited.
go.